parking lot, wide parking. Oh. Oh, it's just one of those. But sweet. Alright, I'm gonna go outside, go to the restroom, and get moving again pretty soon because I am. I got about 15 minutes left on my break. I guess the chat for the machine advice association. Alright, and then.
progress. Well, crap. I forgot to grab my watch this morning. It has fallen somewhere into the void. I'll have to find it later. Looks like I got that load. Clintonville, Wisconsin to Madison, Illinois, which will be my home run. Live load. Unload. Oh, it's from Deluxe Plastics. Oh, this is actually going to be super light. Spending time between Cedric 3. Beautiful. I'll take it. To I think this is where I was talking about going. Let's see. Yeah.
Going to. Please drive to highlighted route.
So we're going to go another 324 miles today. Which will put us right around 100 miles from delivery. I can leave about 5:30 in the morning out of there. Alright. We have still got about another 6 minutes left on my 3 hour drive. So we're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to go ahead and start the engine. We're going to 6 minutes left on my break, so we're just going to sit here. Oh, I need to pull something out for dinner. Oh. So the plan is there is a way station just over the Wisconsin border that has available truck parking, so we are going to take it. Says we'll get there about 4:30. And I have about 6 hours left on my clock, so that'll work out actually pretty good. I would like to get a little bit closer, but I don't want to push it. You know, by the time I get up towards Sheboygan and then everywhere starts filling up, then we're going to have a problem. Now there is a TA just over the line. The only problem is it's 100% paid parking. So I can't make that one a reality. I mean, I could, but I don't want to because I don't want to pay $25 to park. So I have no problems pulling into the way station to park. Or the Welcome Center, you know, whichever one happens to fit my fancy. I'll have about 7 hours left. It's going to take us about 4.5, maybe 5 hours to get there. In all reality, 420 miles, I could make it. Well, no, I can't. Because I'm going to be fighting Chicago traffic. Because I'm not taking 295. That is not happening. It's like $60 in tolls. No way, Jose. What is this? About 3 more minutes. We'll get to our parking spot at about 5-ish, I think. Assuming Milwaukee traffic isn't all jacked up like it normally is. We're getting ready to enter Cratersville, aka the I-70 Indiana border. Alright, one more minute and then we can get going. I would normally do it right at 30 minutes, but the last time I did it right at 30 minutes, it decided it wanted to kick me back. It said I didn't complete my break, so I'm going to give it about 32 minutes and then we'll get going. Damn, Crete. What is this guy doing? Can I get around him? Oh, I think he was checking his tandons. Alright, we'll sit tight for a minute, let him fix them. And we are off to the races.
Turn left on US 127, then take the first right. Turn right on I-70 West. continue on I-70.
I expected that today. When I did my planning this morning, I saw that there was possibility of rain between Ohio and Indianapolis, Indiana. About 8 miles from the Indiana border, and then we enter Cratersville. Stop is 5 hours and 8 minutes. I might cut it a little short depending on if I can find something. I don't mind running right at my limit. But we'll see. Not taking 295. I'm not doing that. It's just too expensive. I understand why this guy's only doing 67 because in a few minutes we're going to be relegated down to 65 because this is the speed limit in Indiana. See a billboard off to the side. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. I saw a billboard just off to the side just a minute ago. Whoever came up with the idea for the marketing guy who came up with the title for the Uranus Fudge Factory was a freaking genius. Out of Ohio. Welcome to Indiana. Why they haven't fixed any of this road yet. Are they still arguing with Ohio who's going to be the one to, for obvious reasons, because we're in Indiana. That one section right there at the border. But, again, Indiana's archaic laws, we can't live over here. with the way station gods have given me today, or given me now. We're going to hold off on the 65-mile-an-hour speed limit until we pass the stamp, because I've been seeing 55 signs, so I don't want to give them an excuse to do anything. But I'm fairly certain I usually do. US Express, unfortunately, has a bad safety rating right now. Yep. hour. Got it. Call USX. This is Michael Phelps, LP04003. I have a quick question. I fueled up at a TA this morning, and I was going to grab a gallon of oil, and I wouldn't let me. It said oil exceeds availability. But the thing is, I had to do a mileage update before I could fuel because it was already skewed. So I called in, I had my miles updated, and then I fueled. I went inside to get the oil, and that's when I got the message. I'm not even sure where that $12 came from, to be perfectly honest with you. Because I haven't bought any fluids in quite some time. That's one thing that I just caught. You said that I am only allowed $60 per day for fluids, correct? That might be what it is, because that particular oil, because it was in the middle of nowhere, was almost $55 before tax. So that might be why. Okay. That makes sense. All right. Well, thank you very much. Yes. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye. All right. Well, that solved that mystery. Bottle of T6. Wouldn't let me, because normally when I fuel at TA, Petro, Love's, or PFJ, I can go through their app or through the kiosk, and it'll say, do you wish to get additional products? And it'll charge it to my fuel card along with the fuel, and then it gets taken out of my settlement at the end of the week. So today, when I fueled up in Hurricane, it wouldn't let me. I got an error message that says oil exceeds availability. But I also just found out, and I wasn't aware of this, I gotta reread my contract because I don't remember that being in my contract, that I have a, oh God, $60 daily limit on fluids. So oil, antifreeze, coolant, oh, my poor CD, the mount came loose, and now it's bouncing all over the damn place. Where was I? Oil, coolant, washer fluid, all of those items. I have a limit of $60 per day. Now I know this, and I can remember this, but I'm still going to look at my contract when I get parked tonight and double check, because I don't remember seeing that in my contract, and I have read my contract word for word. So, that being said, we press on. 300 miles to my planned parking location. Or sooner if I can find something better. So, if you can hear me, which I don't know if you can or not, I really got to go through my video, scrub my video to find out if you guys can actually hear me. Going to, after this delivery, tomorrow morning, I have a pickup about 100 miles away, delivers on Friday morning. After that Friday morning delivery, I'm going to go dark for the weekend. Because I am going home. And I don't want y'all to know where I live, so I'm just not going to show it. time I think I passed you earlier. That sky doesn't look pretty. That sky looks outright mean. Probably gonna get some more of the wet stuff before I get parked tonight. As long as I don't get it in Indiana and get it on I-80. Oh, I gotta make another phone call. Stand by. Call Crystal. So I just wanted to give you my itinerary so you're aware. I will, after I drop off tomorrow, because we drop this here tomorrow, another one. Let's send it back down to the hall. I drop it off Friday morning and I think 8 o'clock. So I don't know what time I'm going to be home. I'm going to plan for early to mid-afternoon tomorrow Friday. Because I don't know if it's a live load and a live unload, and it's plastics. So I honestly, I don't know. I think it's going to be, I think I know what it is. And if it's what I think it is, it's going to be super light. But it's going to Kimberly Clark. Kimberly Clark is cleaning products. Well, the place I'm picking up is a plastics factory. So I have a hunch it's going to be plastic bottles. Which, if that's the case, then it'll be a light load, it'll be a quick load, it should be a quick load, and then it should be, depending on the delivery window, which I think it's a set window, like 8 a.m. or something like that. It should be a fairly I just wanted to let you know about that. Doing. I make trailers. Also known as I-70 in Indiana. Yeah, that. You remember that. So, alright, man. I'll talk later. Bye. Alright. There you go. Enjoy the live feed. I'm going back to my book.
I was enjoying every minute of this day. The main show was about to start and we still didn't come out match our bed. Suddenly, a ref came in and put a new run sheet up. Colby, who was set to face Brock Lesnar, had gone to ring right before me for the first match on the card. Shit! I've got to go watch this. I'll be back in a few. I ran out of the tent and up to Gorilla just in time to catch the entrance. Brock had arrived late and didn't like the spot on the card and thought their match would be better at the open. What Brock Lesnar wants, Brock Lesnar gets. I knew Colby was meant to win the title from Brock that night, but wasn't sure if that had now changed also. Colby went out there with the star of the beginning. Took some gnarly bumps that had my heart jumping into my mouth, considering his back was still being I couldn't relax until the match was over. Eventually, as I watched through my hand, he hit the curb stomp of his feet. I pinned the beast 1, 2, 3 to become the new Universal Champion. I jumped up and down in my own little corner in Gorilla and waited for him to come back. Once I saw him walk through the curtain safely, I left Gorilla and stood just outside to allow him to have his moments and thank him. Plus, we weren't officially out. He came out and wrapped me up in a big sweaty pose. I couldn't have done it without him, he said as Camel came to words. Of course, he absolutely could have and would have. Even worse, he might have been the main event. Regardless, I felt special that I got to experience it all with him. But now that he was gone,
hello. What's up? What have they said? Oh no! Not too bad driving through Indiana. Way to go. She's still waking up, just so you're aware. She had a rough night last night. She told me. Okay, okay, I will try. I've still got to get another 300 miles tonight, so. No. I've got to pick up, I'm going to drop this load off tomorrow. I drop it off tomorrow morning. And then I go pick up one, and I take it down to Illinois. Drop it off on Friday morning, and then I go. Which I would have preferred it that way, because that means that I'm getting paid to run towards home. I'm not getting paid for the whole trip home. I'm getting paid because otherwise it would have been deadhead from Sheboygan to Fairfield, which is probably about 450 miles. And I still have to pay for the fuel. Yeah, if anybody stops us and feels the question, tell them that you're withdrawn and you're high school citizen. But I'll talk about Mom with that. Talk about that with Mom when I come home with that, right? So what else you do today? Or
4 hours before we went out. By the time we had finished putting the match together, I was proud of what we had come up with. This could be tactic enough, I said to Charlotte as we sat in the corner of the room. She asked me. I was genuinely proud of what we had put together. It was almost midnight when I stood in the room, makeup on, hair looking exactly like the man. Virgo walked back now. He too was just moving with the continental. It felt like all my thoughts were happening at once. Enjoy it, sis. Go get him. Virgo said and walked back. It was now time for the dating and death. The moment that felt like I was building an entire life. The women's roster now congregated in Gorilla. I imagine watching the part of open and empty. Spot every one. Bad reputation had just begun as Rhonda went to exit the door that replaced the standard curtain in Gorilla to the stage, when the door fell with a giant thud on the ground, nearly crushing our star. I hope that's not a bad omen, I thought as Rhonda made her way to the ground. Joan Jett and Blackbird playing them down, the exhausted crowd making light. The energy was so breath. Then it was Charlotte's turn. Let me tell it, I said as she walked out through the now gaping hole in Gorilla. The music finished, and I heard the sound of 80,000 people chanting my name, a waving distance. My music hit and I strutted out, ensuring I took my time to soak it up. The stadium was packed to the brim. The dark night sky was cold and crisp. I looked to the left and Joan Jett behind me smiling at me as she punched at the car. Walking down the ramp into the rain felt like it was 2 hours and 2 seconds at the same time as I tried to take in as many faces as I could. I looked out into the front row and immediately spotted my brother and dad. My dad, covered in a blanket, freezing, nodded at me with a warm smile on his face. My brother winked and smiled with a proud smile. I wouldn't be doing any of this. Usually, the friends and family of the performers get brought to the front row when they're matches. I looked at my mom, slightly nervous about how her and my dad would relate now, being in the same space for the first time in 20 years, but I couldn't see her anywhere. I'll find her later, I said to myself, while also being relieved that I didn't have to worry about any parental confrontations right now. The bell rang and the match started. The tired crowd graciously serenading me with chants of Becky, Becky. Midway through the match, I was sensing it was too long, considering the hour and the tomorrow of school day after all. It wasn't going as smoothly as I had hoped. It's true that the sound escapes in stadiums like that, but as a performer and as a human, I was aware that that crowd had now been there for nearly 9 hours. We also had to take it into account that Rhonda had never done this before. Something many of them she wasn't aware of, such as rolling out of the ring and the floor when you're not in a portion of the match. Eventually, we had reached the crescendo. Charlotte was out of the picture, having gone to a table, and the crowd got riled up for the moment they had waited for. At last, it was Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey, 1-on-1. We circled, and then went in throwing fists before she cut me off to lead immediately to the fence, not giving them much of anything. She picked me up with one of her slams, but I rolled through to the pin. 1, 2, 3. She had picked her shoulder up off the mat before the 3 count. Whether that was by accident or deliberate, I suppose we'll never know. But the ref, knowing this was the end of the match, counted to 3, regardless of Ronda's shoulder coming off, in one of the most anticlimactic finishes in WrestleMania history. We were making all sorts of history that night. Fort Spider even paid a $1,000 fine for its sin of counting 3 with the shoulder. This is great. The crowd jumped up to their feet regardless. They were happy to see me win in this historic match, but I'm sure also partly happy to get the hell on. All the people got me where I was, flashing before my eyes as I crumpled over. When I stood up, I saw my dad's mother clapping. Why wasn't she there? She was supposed to be walked down. I saw my friend day dead. Maybe my mom was on another side of the ring. I surveyed the bridge from the crowd. I couldn't feel anyone. My search was called off by fireworks going off to celebrate my win. I got fireworks! Soak it in, I repeated to myself. Am I soaking it in enough? This is the right way to soak it in. No matter where you go, there you are. There will always be insecurity. There will always be doubt. But on this night, I proved, despite it all, I would find a way to open it. I got out of the ring and ran to my brother and dad. I'm proud of you. Well done, Bex, my dad said. Dad walked around, looking out at the crowd, afraid to flinch a second. I was heavy on my shoulders. Tomorrow I would worry about what was next. But for tonight, I was glad. I texted my mom when I got back to the change. Where were you? Why weren't you in front? The last time she'd seen me before my report, I fallen flat on my face. Now, so many titles in the air, doing what no woman in the history of wrestling had ever done before. No one came to get us, but that's okay. I'm so proud of you, my mom texted back. Even the man yearned for the approval of the mother, and he put her mind at it. All those gambles over. Episode 25, The No Sell. It was the Monday Night Raw right after WrestleMania, and I returned to Gorilla after my segment. What the fuck was that? Vince asked me. Sorry, sir? What do you mean? I responded, confused. I had just won the historic main event at WrestleMania, and Vince was making sure I knew how little that mattered, and I better not be getting too big for my britches. What did I tell you? Vince asked, turning it on me. To go down and punch, I answered, it dawning on me why he was so upset at me. Then why the fuck did you no-sell it? You fucked everything up. Sir, honestly, I didn't mean to no-sell it. I thought I did sell it. I just didn't go down. I wasn't expecting it to land the way it did, and I was a little stunned. I explained my reasons, which once they came out of my mouth, I realized it sounded like fabricated excuses. Do you fucking think I was born yesterday? Well, no, sir, I certainly don't think you were born yesterday. I'd never been cussed on for anything before. This was real tough guy shit. But I was completely unprepared. And also, I was not in any way trying to fuck him, or anyone for that matter, over. We were less than 24 hours removed from WrestleMania. I was running on about an hour of sleep, having done media in the morning, and had just delivered a promo with a new chantable catchphrase and future merch shirt. How about a thank you? Instead, Vince was very upset that I, who had just won both titles in the first women's main event of WrestleMania in its history, 35 years, didn't sell the punch delivered to me by Lacey Evans, the brand new lady on the roster who had only been seen walking down the ramp in high heels, a dress, and a nice hat. Should I have been selling for her in this manner the night after such an occasion? Fuck no, but that's not why I didn't. She hits a punch to the jaw, which, though safe, can be a little jarring, and as this was my first time feeling it, I got a little rocked, and instead of falling to the ground as one would with a cell, I caught myself from falling in the moment, as was my natural reaction. I would chase after her and get the upper hand in the segment regardless, so there was no selling necessary on my end anyway, considering I would overcome and conquer, which had been my path to the top thus far. Vince, however, could not be swayed from the fact that he had made me a top star, given me the keys to the castle, and now I was a big-time, arrogant asshole who thought I could get away with whatever I wanted, and no pleading with him to sway him otherwise. In fact, when I tried to explain myself, he yelled at me, "You're not fucking listening to me!" So many F-bombs. Shaken, I walked out of Gorilla and looked for solace in my friends backstage. Kobe was right there to help me. You gotta understand, he's been burned so many times by people who's made stars. Plus, I'm a good kid. Lisa, he was a top star, one of the guys. He never talked to a woman like that otherwise, Kobe comforted me. But it hurt me that Vince thought I was doing it intentionally. In reality, Lacey should not be in my current opponent. She was brand new, green, and it would be my job to make her. As I was the champ, double champ, and someone who had just made momentous history, there should have been something built up on the back end so that people would be excited about what I do next. These were the creative oversights WWE had continued to make. What do I do? I asked Mark Morano, the head of talent relations. Look, we fucked up the spot. That's it. You tell him you fucked up the spot. We talked to him before he leaves. Otherwise, it's going to sit on you and him all week long, Mark advised. Okay, yeah, you're right. When should I talk to him? Wait till after the show. I'll be walking him out of here, and I'll let you know so you can get him while he leaves. I camped outside of Gorilla, waiting to pounce, and occasionally being prepared as I confided in another compliment about the situation. Fuck him, don't bother. You know he didn't mean it. But perception is reality in this group. As soon as the show was over, Mark gave me a nudge to let me know he was coming through and told me exactly where to stand so I could get into the building. When I saw him rounding the corner, I pounced. I'm still a hit. Look, Vince, I'm really sorry. I mean it. I didn't intend to do that. You fucked up the spot. I'm sorry. I want to say it won't happen again, but shit, sometimes I fuck up. He immediately softened. I'm Irish too. I fuck up all the time. He laughed. I laughed too. He gave me a big hug that I didn't anticipate. Sure as hell appreciated it. He gave me a rare glimpse into the human being who resides behind the skin of the mythical Mr. McMahon. The man who seemingly wants everything so controlled that he is perturbed by the act of sneezing, as it means he has lost momentary authority over his own body. We were cool again, and it was nice to know that even billionaire type people like Vince know they fuck up all the time but move on regardless. I'm welling into shit. Episode 26. The Intergender Tag. Seth says to Corbin, pick any ref you want. So he picks Lacey. She has a vendetta against you and tries to screw Seth out of the title. That's when you come out. What do you think? It cost me the head writer of Raw, which me on an idea. Gosh, I don't know. Is it weird for the man to have a man, you know? I wonder. Think about it, Ed said. Kobe and I weren't even together 6 months. Our relationship hadn't been public for a month. Working together could be fun, but it worked. The way I see it, it's like seeing Daredevil and Elektra fighting side by side. If you know they're together, that's cool, but if not, it's no big deal, argued Kobe. I suppose as a fan I'd want to see that, I answered. Exactly, and it'll be fun, Kobe reiterated. I'm worried that they're just going to turn me into your club. Like that's what I'll be relegated. I confessed. Nah, you're too big for that now, Kobe considered. The summer months right after Mania and before SummerSlam can be a bit of a lull in WWE. Look at it this way. Mania is Christmas. There's so much build-up, anticipation, preparing, and the big day comes. You get all your presents, and then you move into the cold dreariness of January, where nothing much of significance happens. Joining forces with Kobe would either be exciting or ruthless, both from a career standpoint and a relationship standpoint. After much deliberation, and with the earth-shattering, excited love energy between us, we gave the creative team the all-clear to go ahead with the storyline. But I had one condition that needed to be drilled into Vince's head. Becky can't just be Seth's girlfriend. Ha-ha! Becky's not Seth's girlfriend. Seth is Becky's boyfriend. Ha-ha-ha-ha-ha! Vince exclaimed, laughing in hysterics. It was all so nice in theory. Two of WWE's top stars, both champions, fighting side by side in the face of evil. We made our side-by-side debut at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and quickly found out that, in reality, it was a damn mess, and not in the slightest victory. Commentary reminded the good folks watching every 2 minutes that Becky and Seth are in a real-life relationship, So much so that it was both uncomfortable and off-putting. We also had no idea how to interact with each other on the screen. I was used to being a badass. He was too, and in this mushy, muddled TV relationship, we were just plain awkward. Or, more appropriately, I was awkward. Or cringe, as was often the word used to describe it online. Blending the two worlds didn't work, as I was two completely different people in each of them. In the ring, I said what I meant, didn't take any shit from anyone, needed no one, and showed no level of vulnerability or humility. At home, or with Colby, rather, I needed no mask. He was very aware of the insecure, strange, often shy girl I was who would struggle to say how I feel or speak up. He knew all of my vulnerabilities, for better or worse. He knew I was not the person on screen. Unless I was pissed off. Then the man would be scared of Rebecca Flynn. When the storyline was over, I think everyone was relieved. Him, me, the audience. Colby and I learned a lot about ourselves and each other in that short time. We hadn't been dating long, but we were thrown into the deep end. Even if we weren't a good pairing on screen, I had found the perfect person to meet off screen. 2 months after the TV storyline had ended at the Extreme Rules pay, and after us having our first tag match together, which, despite the awful storyline, was actually a great match, we took our first vacation together to Hawaii. On our second day on Maui, we got lost on the way back from a day trip and stumbled across a beautiful, secluded beach. No one was there, only the sun drifting behind the cliffs, the sound of the ocean crashing against the shore, the odd bird chirping in song. I was taking photos of Colby as he was looking at the sunset. His jacked back and sleek tattoo, a more beautiful sight than the picturesque scenery. All of a sudden, he pivoted and dropped to a knee. I stopped snapping as my jaw hit the sand below. "Will you marry me?" he asked. "What? Is this real?" "Yes," he said. Yes, of course!" I exclaimed, happier than ever. As if by magic, a lady with a professional camera showed up a minute later. Colby hadn't planned any of this, but when we came across the ideal scenario, we figured it was perfect. And the magic lady took my iPhone and angled us into the best lighting. As we got unlost and found our way back to the hotel, I texted everyone I knew to tell them the good news. There was no shame, no worry, no doubt. As a friend, I'd never thought Colby would be the marrying type, but 2 months into dating, he was already calling me his wife. We never really discussed marriage. It was more of a foregone conclusion that we would be together forever. My mom didn't stop talking to me for 3 weeks when I told her. In fact, she was over the moon. When you know, you really do know. Episode 27. Give me a hell yeah. Things were rolling at lightning speed. In the space of a year, every wrestling dream I had ever had was coming true. I was put on the cover of the WWE video game, the first time ever for a woman. I was on the cover of magazines, even becoming the first wrestler on the cover of ESPN, the magazine. I did Sports Center commercials. I went for a week straight sleeping only on airplanes because I had so many appearances literally all over the world. I got to work with The Rock, John Cena, Edge, film with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I was on Billions on Showtime. I filmed with Marvel. I got a book deal. I became the longest running Raw Women's Champion in history. I bought my first house. I had great matches. I had awful matches. I had underrated matches. I had mediocre matches. I was getting to travel the world and work side by side with my best friend and now fiance, and paid to do it. Life was a series of ups with the odd down and little time to process anything or even be aware of what was happening. However, I now had many voices in my head and my ear offering different advice. Some voices were more dominant than others, with some ideas that were better than others. It was my job to navigate between all of the noise. I was the man, after all. But sometimes I fought the wrong creative battles and listened to the wrong people. I got worked up over insignificant promos or outcomes, approaching everything as if it were do or die. I felt the need to conform to what I'd been doing on social media, i.e. being an asshole, leaving me feeling not so great about myself, like I hadn't been true to myself. And to use the quote from the beginning of the book that my dad had always repeated to me, which he misquoted from the Bible, but I like his version better. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will complete. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will destroy. I loved my work. I hated how worked up I would get at every single week of television, or over every single creative direction. As if the wrong story would send me back to the pit of irrelevancy from whence I came. I'd worked so hard to be the first woman to main event WrestleMania, and send the business in a different trajectory. But once I'd reached the top of the mountain, the first question was, what next? The company came and offered me a somewhat lofty contract, but now that I had achieved my ultimate goal, I wondered if it was time to think about the next goal, one outside of the confines of the world, being a mother. I badly wanted a family one day. I found my perfect partner. In work, I was becoming increasingly more anxious, worrying about my booking. Having reached the top of the mountain didn't mean I could enjoy everything more. It meant I was concerned about staying at the top, and I'm positive I was a pain in the ass for the creative. It's so cliche that it's all about the journey and not the destination, but it was true. The destination was only the beginning of a new journey. But while I was worried about what was going to happen next, all of a sudden, the world shut down. We were supposed to fly out to Canada when we got word of the global shutdown because of COVID-19. Is the show still on? I asked the travel department. Yes, for now. Just take the flight anyway. But what if we get stuck in Canada? It was March 2020, and you couldn't sit down to get coffee anywhere. But in WWE, the show must always go on. Vince was the first person to put a show on after 9/11. He has run shows after the tragic passing of co-workers. He loves wrestling more than anything, but also truly believes that wrestling is the distraction people need during hard times, such as a global pandemic. So unless the government made him cancel, those shows were going to run. The government did indeed make him cancel that show, and many to follow, but they couldn't stop him running a TV show on a closed set in front of no one. And that's what we did. All of our travel was changed to Orlando, the performance center, where I trained for all of those years. In the classic Never Say Die Vince McMahon way, the show carried on as we hurtled towards WrestleMania. After all, this global shutdown wouldn't last more than 2 weeks, would it? No way! Even 2 weeks seemed like an eternity. You think we're going to have to cancel WrestleMania? I asked Paul Heyman. I think you're looking at the venue for it, he responded nonchalantly. This? PC Mania? No way! You think it's going to last that long? October at the earliest before we have fans back, he prophesied. I walked away shaking my head thinking, what an alarmist he was. There was no way it could last that long. This wasn't any Raw, though. This was the return of Stone Cold Steve Austin on 316 Day, so called after his famous King of the Ring promo, where he notoriously said, Austin 316 just whooped your ass, leading to a global phenomenon and the best-selling t-shirt in wrestling history. Stone Cold Steve Austin in the PC, drinking beers and giving the finger to no one, seemed so very weird. All of this felt weird. Just a week earlier, we were wrestling in front of 15,000 screaming fans in Washington, D.C. Now it was us, in our bodies, bereft of adrenaline, taking bumps to no reaction, but still with the duty of entertaining millions of confined viewers the world over. I had pitched doing something with Steve. We'd be prepared someone, and it was a hard and fast no. That was, up until 10 minutes before we went out for the main event segment of the show. Even though there was no one in attendance, we still went live, because that was the only system we had in place. A rider came and grabbed me. Hey, we might need you to come out and drink with Steve if we go under time. Well, shit, that's cool. Would it be nice to plan something earlier, but sure. Okay, great. There'll be a cooler full of beers waiting at the grill. Bring that down and you guys can cheers or whatever. I stood behind the curtain, watching Austin, the coolest wrestler to ever lace up a pair of boots, in the midst of an awkward segment that even seemed weird to say, an oxymoron if you will. Austin and awkward were just not two words that go together. It was simply so un-Austinating. No people, him holding cue cards, bantering back and forth with Byron Saxon. This shit was weird, and it was about to get a whole lot weirder when my music hit. Down I walked, ruler in hand. We cheered, we stunned Byron Saxon too many times. We accidentally kicked him in the dick too many times. Drank too many beers because the music kept playing and there was nothing else to do. By the time the segment was over, I was suitably shit-faced. The company had never filmed the Raw in front of no one, and I had never gotten drunk live on TV. And here we were. The year 2020 was wild in all the worst ways. And it was about to get even wilder. Post-Raw, and in the throes of drunken passion, Kobe and I took less caution than usual. Even though I did want to be a mother, I was still the champion, and I fully envisioned it would take an eternity to become pregnant. Even though I was only 33, considering the damage I had done to my body over the course of nearly 20 years, between taking bumps and eating disorders, I figured there was no way in hell that my insides would be working properly. Oh boy, was I wrong. When we returned home from filming WrestleMania at the PC 2 weeks later, I was already feeling nauseous. No, it couldn't have happened that quick. Could it? Holy shit, what if it had? There won't be any plans for months. What will I be missing? If ever there was a time to be pregnant, this is it. But then again, what if I lose all my momentum? Everything I was working for starts down. This has never been done before. How will Vince react? How will the fans react? How will my mom react? Out of wedlock and all that stuff. There's one way to find out. Take the damn test. I bought one of those early response tests. 6 days earlier, it said. I peed on the stick. The control line showed up immediately, but not the second line, the "you're pregnant" line. Without waiting the full time, I threw it in the bin because I was so certain I was not pregnant. Off I went to the gym, still nauseous as a sailor. When I came back, I noticed the stick again. Only this time, there was a second line. Oh shit. Don't read after 10 minutes, the box said. That's a second line. I could swear that's a second line. I showed Colby. Oh shit, that's a second line. Right? But it says don't read after 10 minutes. When did you do this? Before the gym. Did you not read the instructions? You know I'm not an instruction reader. Well, fuck. Do another one. So I did. Another faint line. I think that's positive. It's very faint. I texted Rachel the next day showing her. It looks negative, she said. Don't be disappointed. It usually takes a long time. But I feel it. I feel like shit. Might just be your period. My sister was trying for a full year. I'm getting a goddamn digital test. Like a digital test. I went into the pharmacy to pick up the test. The man behind the counter offering me a good look as I walked out, box in hand. After I actually read the instructions, Kobe and I camped out in the bathroom, waiting for the little digital window to inform us of our fate. Those 3 minutes felt like we were waiting the entire duration of Schindler's List. Pregnant! Kobe read out as he threw his arms up in the air, proud of it, seething. Yes! Holy shit! Yes! But also, no! What if I'm not actually ready? I'm not ready! Now all those questions were real. What will Vince say? She asked, while simultaneously arguing that I shouldn't have to care. I was a woman and had a right to become a mother. Sure, it wasn't ideal that I was currently the champion. The men in our industry don't have to skip over the important part of life choice that is starting a family. Why should I have to? Apart from obvious reasons of handling. But this was a new world, and these things should be taken into consideration. For better or worse, I was going to be the crash test dummy. Could women in wrestling have it all? Colby sent his mom a picture of me with the test. She rang immediately and went as far as to start opening up her closet, showing all the baby clothes she had already purchased in anticipation for this day. Damn, Polly, we ain't even been together that long. I thought I had more time. That's why these are the only things I have, she said as she pulled out an entire wardrobe for a newborn. Oh man, I'm about to be someone's mom. We did the rounds. We called Colby's dad. We called my mom. We called my dad. The dads cried. Our lives were about to change forever. Episode 28. Take a walk. The tears streamed down my face. I'm not saying this. This is the biggest announcement of my life, and I'm not going to have two old men tell me how I'm going to say it. We agreed on this weeks ago. Why the hell has this all changed? Why is no one listening to me? The doe-eyed rider looked back at me. I'm sorry, I don't think you have to say it exactly as is. What the fuck is the sword of Damocles, and why the fuck would I be talking about it now? And why am I starting a fight with Charlie? Or anyone, for that matter? Charlie was our backstage interviewer. Well, you don't. It's not what we agreed on. I'm pretty sure I was turning crimson while I ugly cried, yelled, and rained spit rocks all over the poor rider who was trying to console me. This was the epitome of my difficult to work with hero, only now amplified by the multitude of hormones circulating in my body. There's a custom in the backstage politics of professional wrestling where you must maintain your best poker face at all times. Emoting is seen as a sign of weakness. In this business, is survival of the fittest. Ironically, beyond the curtain, the opposite is true. The best wrestlers are the ones who emote authentically, who allow the audience to feel what they feel. They sell, i.e. react to something in such a way that makes it appear believable and legitimate to the audience, usually referring to the physical side of wrestling, but it stretches far beyond it. We're selling stories, characters, hopes, dreams, and most importantly, merch. Okay, maybe it's not most important, but in the eyes of the company, it's pretty darn important. Anyway, back to my meltdown. Vince is almost done. Go in there as soon as Jamie's out. On most days, even though I had built a good relationship with Vince McMahon, there was still always a nervous anticipation of approaching his door to ask him something. Today, however, was no ordinary day. I had no filter, no restraint, and absolutely no coup whatsoever. There was no deep breath or blessing myself to protect myself against his ability to mind control before I knocked on the door. In fact, I didn't even knock on the door. I kicked that mother down. Clearly, I had enough rage on my face that our director of creative at the time, Paul Heyman, gathered his papers and bolted out of there as quick as he could. I'd long since hypothesized that pregnancy was accompanied by a free pass for bad behavior, and on this occasion my theory being proved correct. I was only 9 weeks pregnant, but I was bad to the bone. Vince, still miraculously delighted about the fact that his current longest reigning women's champion and arguably biggest star was leaving to go have a child, was oblivious to the fury I had brought into his office as he greeted me with a welcoming hug that ended up tears soaking his fancy Armani blazer. What's wrong? He asked, finally reading the room. What came out of my mouth next was barely comprehensible, but between sobs I managed to get out, I don't want to do this. No one is listening to me. What are you talking about? Calm down now here a second. What don't you want to do? Vince consoled me like a grandpa. I composed myself for long enough to explain why I didn't want to go out and start a fight with Charlie, who was simply interviewing me, and then pick a fight with Oscar, who, unbeknownst to her, would become the next Raw Women's Champion. I was the man and all, but I wasn't a dumbass pregnant lady who would pick fights for no reason. He listened before asking, what do you want to do? I want to go out there with the title and the Money in the Bank briefcase and talk about how much this is meant to me, but say I need to go away for work. Then Oscar comes out screaming at me looking for a contract. I tell her that I put a lock on the case and that she hadn't just won the chance at the title, she had won much more. She opened it, then I say, you go be a warrior, because I'm going to go be one. Well, that's much better. Why don't we do that? Really? I was now sobbing because of how nice she was being. No one told me this idea. It's great. Let's go do it now, Vince said with a warmth that tends not to be associated with the mythical billionaire. I'd somehow managed to keep my makeup intact in the midst of my breakdown, and Vince guided me to the empty warehouse to give my farewell in front of nothing but a camera and a skeleton crew. Such was the COVID-era way. It was a long way from where I started. I'd left my family years ago to make this dream work. Now I was leaving my dream work to make a family. The announcement was received with overwhelming positivity. Of course, there was the odd, how irresponsible comment here and there. But hey, go fuck yourselves. I knew the timing was perfect, as if I'd been guided by the universe. But the daunting reality that now I'd be sitting at home by myself several days a week with a growing belly and hormones aplenty was sending me into a deep anxiety. I'm not the world's best at doing nothing. But if nothing else, I'd be doing nothing with the rest of the class. Except maybe I'd try to write this book. Episode 29. I am the mom. The week before I was due, I got unearthly terrified. I am not ready. Everyone would ask me, how are you feeling? Are you excited? I'd respond with an, oh my god, I can't wait. While inside I was trembling with fear. What if I didn't bond with her? What if I got postpartum depression? I tend to veer on the side of the depressive as it is. On a rare day off from the gym, Colby and I sat down in his coffee shop and were relaxing as we watched a couple of young girls play on couches there. We're going to have one of those. I know, I responded with deep anxiety. Not a moment later, the phone rang. Hi, is this Rebecca? It is. Hi, this is Dr. Jones. Hi Doc, what's up? We tested your liver enzymes and they've become elevated. You have what we call cholestasis, so we're going to bring you in to induce you. I grabbed Colby's arm as he was mouthing, who is that? What's going on? As I clearly had a terrified look on my face. The doctor continued, because of the past through the placenta and stop the baby's heart. Seeing as you're 39 weeks, it really is best to just get her out now. I quickly responded, oh, shit, okay,
In
we'll
1
head
mile,
right there.
take exit
Before telling
83B on the
we have
right
go have the
to
baby
I-65
now. They're going
north.
to induce. Panic. He loudly replied, no? What? No? What's happening? No! We have to. Actually, Doc, could you just explain this to me? We weren't married yet, but fiancé is such a fluffy word. 1 minute later, he hung up the phone. We're going to have a baby! Ah! I guess I wasn't the only one who was nervous, though I was now visibly shaking. The reality that life would never be the same again had come. We rushed home and got our bags for our stay at the hospital. People had told me to eat as much as I could before getting to the hospital because once I was there I couldn't eat. I stood at the kitchen counter shoveling leftover pad thai into my mouth, my whole body quaking in fear, my appetite non-existent, forcing the food down regardless.
Be in either of the two right lanes, then take the exit to I-65 north.
This time we'd be coming home. We'd have our little girl with us. I was in labor for 24 hours without pain medication and was now puking and spasming uncontrollably from the pain. Though I think the most painful experience of the whole thing was the annoying, high-pitched nurse telling me, each contraction is bringing you closer to meeting your baby. Shut up, bitch, I'm puking over here. What if I don't like this baby? Sounds cold and heartless, but I'm 98% sure that plenty of women have felt the same way on the brink of giving birth. Going from someone's child to someone's parent in one fell swoop. I had told myself that if I could get through this without an epidural, I would be able to do anything else in life that I wanted. I would have the will and determination and fortitude to achieve anything, for I am the creator of life, the fortress of pain, the willer of wills, or something like that. Point is, I hadn't had a challenge in a while, and I was getting pretty damn bored chilling at home. The Pitocin swam through my veins, never letting
Continue
the
on
agony break
I-65.
for a split second. The sensation was compounded temporarily by the loud crunch of chips and the ratchet smell of salsa as Colby dug into his snack. A serpent's tongue temporarily popped out of my mouth as I hissed. "What's that, honey?" he replied lovingly. "Go away, please." "Huh?" He sounded befuddled. My head felt too heavy to even look up. "Chips. Go away. Just go away, please." He put the crinkling bag away as he sighed. "I'm so hungry." I was passing the threshold. Shit was happening. You know, movies give a real bad indication of labor. I thought the pushing part was the hard part, but as soon as I had the urge, I felt like a release. Like finally my body was working with me and not against me. Sure, the guttural sounds that came from me were like something you'd hear on Animal Planet, but it wasn't painful. After I'd been pushing for 5 minutes, the doctor informed me the baby's heart rate was dropping. "We have to get this baby out now," she directed me firmly, yet shockingly calmly. I was done waiting for contractions to push. I bore down and pushed that child out with every fiber of my being. And she wasn't crying. Why wasn't she crying? I'd never been more scared in my life. After spending 9 months wondering if I would bond with this baby, I was immediately ready to die for her. The nurse had a cloth over the baby's mouth as they hit her on the back. "She can't breathe!" I yelled at the nurse, moving the cloth away from my baby's nose and mouth, completely forgetting how umbilical cords work. 30 of the longest seconds of my life later, I was calmed as with one final whack to her back, she started the most adorable, most amazing little whimper I had ever heard. My little baby girl was here. She was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen, and I loved her with every cell in my body. Nothing would ever be more important to me than her. We named her Ruth. I thought that was such a cool name. But when she cried, she looked like a little grumpy old lady. She looked more like an Agnes than a Ruth. Still, we called her Ruth. I couldn't believe that this most perfect baby, who, by the way, I had no idea how to look after, was mine to keep. 2 days later, we went home. My perfect home. Episode 30. The Submission. Should I kick off the mortal coil? There is no point in you even trying to come back, as, actually, I won't be here, and there certainly won't be much crack in these spare times. Damn. And so, at 4 a.m., I lay in bed in Los Angeles, my iPad on my chest, and watched as my brother carried my dad's coffin into the funeral home in Limerick. I had to be careful not to wake the 3-month-old laying next to me. 10 people max, 6 feet apart, masked up. This was his send-off. 2021. No crack indeed. And then Moo started crying. That makes 2 of us, baby. His health had gone down rapidly, or at least that's what he had let on. He never wanted me to worry. He didn't tell me that the cancer had returned, or that he had passed out in the doctor's office, or that he had become so swollen that his clothes had to be cut off. After all, I was a new mother and had enough to be worrying about. Every time he called, I was short, talking about how stressed I was, the lack of sleep I was getting. I had nothing but time and the luxury of being at home with my beautiful, healthy baby. Why the fuck was I acting like this? Why did I become so self-centered that I neglected to call him back for 3 weeks and get around to it? When I finally did, I was complaining about how tough I was finding it, how stressed out of my mind I was. Enjoy it, Missy. That's all the advice he'd been giving me. I became mad at him for brushing me off when he could just be that easy. I can't enjoy it, Dad. I'm so stressed. I don't have any help. She won't sleep. I don't know how I'm going to go back to work. It's an adventure, Missy. Enjoy the journey. Now I get it. I get that he was on his way out and wanted me to enjoy this part of my life. Every part of my life, really. Especially that which was his favorite part of life. Being a parent. Richie was the good kid. The one who looked after him always. I could provide him money. Richie provided the things that were priceless. Care, affection, time. Richie suggested that we do a FaceTime so that Dad could see his granddaughter. That was the last time I saw him. He looked skinny and frail. His arm was in a sling. He said he fell. He knew things weren't quite right, but not for a second, I think. I'll never see my dad alive again. I just chatted and played with Rude, with the conversation running force and moving on, not thinking anything of it until Richie said, "He's not doing too well. What would you think of coming home?" I got stressed again. There were 2-week quarantine restrictions. There were no direct flights and hardly any going into Ireland at all. How would I figure all of this out with a 3-month-old and a fiancé who was on the road? How long do you think that? I don't know. Maybe 6 weeks. Didn't even have 6 days. I tried to talk to him every day after that. His voice became increasingly more fragile. His mind unable to comprehend the things I was saying, not yet admitting he was exiting the world. It was a Monday 4 days later when me and my dad had our last conversation. I'm on my way out, Bex. I know, Dad, I said as I broke down in tears. I did weird things. I played nervously with a makeup brush, cradled the teddy bear he gave me. I ran downstairs, half-dressed, looking for Kobe's hand to hold. I scrolled my phone looking for a way to record the phone call so that I could still have my dad's voice to listen to, all while he was talking. I'm sorry, Dad, I know I was trouble. I know I wasn't a good daughter. You were always a joy, Bex. How could he forgive me? He was dying and I hadn't even returned his calls. He was dying and all I could talk about was myself. He truly loved me unconditionally. I wish I could be there, Dad. I should have been there when Rue was born. But you couldn't, Dad. I know. I love you, Dad. I love you, Bex. Richie took the phone. He lost his ability to talk the next day. The day after that, he was gone. He never got to meet Rue. He would have adored her. He would have loved her uniqueness. Now she knows exactly what she wants and will not be dissuaded. He might see expressions that remind him of me, but he'd know that she is an individual and he'd encourage her originality. In the pain of loss and the crippling guilt I've felt since, I still write messages to his phone as if he's here, updating him on Rue, telling him all of my worries that he never judged me for. It makes me feel like he's not really gone. He's just back in Ireland and I haven't seen him in a while. Like he's getting back at me for not returning his calls, by not writing back. It's hard to know what to say when someone dies. Always there with the wisdom of a sage and knowing the perfect thing to say. The rock whom my dad always loved watching when he was resting, and who had become a good friend and confidant to me in recent years, offered the most comforting perspective. In his signature voice, kind and compassionate, he gave me the greatest amount of comfort in one sentence. And now, he's always with me. And now, he's always with me. Episode 31. And you. I was en route to LA 8 months after I had had Rue when Vince McMahon called me. What would a comeback look like at SummerSlam? Well, damn, I don't know. You just call me. What are you thinking? Well, I'm thinking you show up and cost Charlotte the title, and then go away again. What's the story behind it? There is none. Just a one-off, and then we don't see you again until the draft. I was insulted. They'd originally told me I was coming back at SummerSlam. Then they changed their minds and told me I wouldn't be returning until October. Now they had changed their minds again. I had plans to make, a baby to take care of. Can you give me the night to think about it? Of course. As soon as I got off the phone, I told Kobe, this fucking guy, and started to explain the phone call. To my surprise, he responded, I kind of like it. Just the idea of you fucking someone over and then disappearing sounds like something Austin would do. You think? Like they don't have any sort of plan. Feels like it's just a waste of my return. Nah, man, it's not your real return. With an outside perspective, I thought about it, let it simmer, and went to sleep, getting pretty excited about being in the mix again. Let's fucking go. Only to wake up to a text from Vince the following morning saying, I've changed my mind. I'll be ready. Well, that's disappointing. I'd come around to the idea. But don't worry, I stay ready, I replied. I'd done all the in-ring training, gotten in the best shape of my life, but at least I had more time to prepare. Only a day later, on a Saturday, Kobe, who was doing live events, texted me to say, Sasha's out. She was set to face Bianca for the SmackDown Women's title. SummerSlam was only a week away. I was going to get the call that they needed. Sunday came. No call. Monday came. No call. Ring, ring. Hello? Hi, Becky. It was Bruce Pritchard, the creative director of Raw and SmackDown. Hi, Bruce. How's it going? He asked. Going good. What's up? I responded, knowing exactly what was up. Well, we have a bit of a problem. Oh, yeah? Sasha might be out for SummerSlam, Bruce started out. I heard that was a possibility. And you gotta give them the match or give them something bigger. Not that this was necessarily a bigger match, but the element of surprise made it most intriguing. So what are you thinking? Well, Bianca comes out, says Sasha can't make it. We go to a 2-on-1 match with Carmella and Zelina. She beats them, then you come out and beat her quick. You win the championship and we turn you heel. Then we don't go back to you and Bianca till Mania. Ooh, that would make her a huge babyface. I like that. That's option A. What's option B? I asked. Option B is you interfere in the Raw title match and cost Charlotte the title. Then we don't see you till the draft. So you're saying either way you need me for SummerSlam. We need you for SummerSlam. Alright, see you there. Thanks, Becky. But now, shit! Who's going to look after Rue? With such short notice, we had no nanny situated. We had discussed our friend Jen, but she was going to SummerSlam as a fan and was excited about her first big event. I didn't even know what I'd need for this damn comeback. Gear? I didn't have any of that. Thank God I had dyed my hair a week earlier. Turning heel was a huge move for me. I'd spent the entirety of my career in WWE as a baby. The one time they tried to turn me into a heel, I became an even bigger babyface. But this was different. It was my fault this time. Because I was given so much before that top group, the online crowd already hitting the time on his face. And I got screwed over someone they genuinely cared for, like Bianca, someone who was new and excited, and the crowd was genuinely fine and happy to push and say, it would be the most ghastly thing I could do. And I was excited to try out a new character, whether it would be exact opposite of the man. On Friday night, we still wasn't sure what I was doing. Communication was minimal. I spoke with certainty and right because thankfully, the angel of the Jen is. She said she would make the show now, radiating my greatest towards good life. At around noon on Saturday afternoon, Johnny Ace now had an operation. I moved to CCTV on my end, fire. There was no way we could probably get into the here, different out every night, forever. Bruce, Johnny, and I had coordinated the chaos both about everyday life on books, important business meetings, including Ryan, Jen, Rebel starter, Annie, honoring available, she's going to be some big, massive skills that are going to go back. Sasha was out of the final thing. It turned out they had a little problem with their original idea. They had forgotten to put the meeting on the paper. So instead of being a 2-on-1 match, it would just be Bianca versus Carmella. I would then beat up Carmella and throw her out of the ring and into the set. Put a promo challenging Bianca to the final match that would
Jody at it. She both shake her hand, push her in the throat, and then moved it. Forward at it. All the lead off. Down quick. We'll have the offset get ready here soon. Go. But then for now, she knows. No, we're going to tell her the mind keep this secret. Again, but that time was not what was going to happen. Cheerful. And the last thing I wanted to do or not, I ignore and accept that vision. And if I said, well, right away, hey, I know if I'm thinking but you're not sure that you know. I can have more things on the phone. She thinks I like it when they're well. She's a great partner. She's fine at me to roll. But I'm going to stop. She did not. She thinks I can stop as well. She did. However, her shape heads up. She was blindsided as well. I got guilty of her return to her in opposition. Feeling as if the already bubbling note on its motion. Anxiety, excitement, doubt, apprehension, suspense, related, I felt. The only thing is to see a few hours later, the chaos of the bus now amplified as we had added an air making her. Megan, please wait. She brushes down Megan's hands as she came near my face. I got up with the other shaving. Oh, I don't love you now. It ain't really over. I only met her a handful of times. She was awesome. You were great. Will they be that she was showing herself? And she's so amazing. I told her mine. And she told me her mind. I know her clothes. I'm just glad that I can be part of the song. And also imagine she's not mad at me. Also keeping doing it and happy to get on the challenge. It was like no teacher stuff in the whole time that we played. It could be easy. Why that be carried? You need to be not important. And it all would be understandable. She was nothing but pure class and happy to preserve your understanding. I agreed with the chaos in front of us. And I read baseball, talk, sure okay, not wanting to bring up the finish. They were like the most successful movie star on the planet. He's also like the doctor. You need him. There in a while. Or he said, there's one way to say everything that he never said. This is your own. Take it in. And when I'm quiet, I'm looking down and say, moved on the show. I said, one more time and handed her off again, ready to do the down thing. But it was going to stop everyone, sir. Good John, she was running to step. Long in big smiles and sun and waiting for me. All the thoughts going through my mind, but it didn't hurt. But it did not that big of a call. I'm worried myself right away when I proud cheer. Feel the fun. lynch. The air was sucked out of your week, the top faded blue, coffee, shopping, confusion. What the hell just happened? They just squashed me like that. Why? How? I knew from my people. People were genuinely angry. It was so hard to find waiting for the walls so that you had to get down that machine. And I knew to stop at anyone else. What would stop at any? They were surely mad. And they were big mad. When I came back, I saw the office crying. Understandably. She's not in her own head. No, nothing she's not. She should have realized that passed off and came back. And I tried to reassure her that I was the right one. She was right. No, me. But that's cool. And I made her way through the sea of verses. Colleagues I hadn't seen in 22 years. Welcoming me back and offering books. I was eager to find my name. Show her my new title. But Mama, I did. Did a condition. This is my new reality. The perfect blend of the thing I love and the people I love. Instead of going out to dinner, celebrating a comeback, or hanging out with my friends, coffee shop and making jokes, and talking about the meal and microwave with David when others were a child, and it was time to give her a bath and put her to bed. I couldn't imagine a better way to celebrate, or a better way to live my life of your own. Catalog, the dark match. Like all SummerSlam in 2021 and into 2022, is what I consider my favorite year in wrestling. I feel I finally felt the freedom to do what I want, to say what I want, to not take myself too seriously or have to answer to anyone's expectations. I had a new perspective on life and work. I was there to build my opponent and tell the best story I could, and hopefully take an entertaining ass-kicking while I was at it. Wrestling is my art, and I'm damn good at it. Even if I'm not the most technically proficient artist in the world, my body is my painting. The ring is my canvas, and the moves are my painting. Within there are my opponents, different strokes for different folks, but it's all art, and whatever the onlooker thinks of it is up to them. But for me, I just want a body of work and a portfolio I am proud of. Even though I was back to being on the road 4 days a week, every week of the year, I had my new little family with me the whole time. Sure, it meant dragging a tiny baby to Saudi Arabia and back again twice, or to and from the UK several times and on planes several times a week. It meant not sleeping through the night one single night all year. And yeah, Sasha and Naomi walked out of Raw right as it went on air when we were meant to be the main event that night, leading to a whole bunch of chaos. But they had their reasons, and that is their book tonight. Vince suddenly retired from the company after being all I'd ever known of WWE, and in many ways is responsible for the life I have now and my lovely little family. I was able to have my dream match with my teenage hero and friend Lita in Saudi Arabia, where once women weren't allowed to have matches at all. Bianca and I were able to pay off a quick loss by stealing the damn show, if I do say so myself, at WrestleMania 38 in Dallas, the same place I had my first WrestleMania match 6 years earlier, and I got to give her her championship back. Ultimately, our feud continued to SummerSlam that year, where I would finally turn back babyface, but also separate my shoulder, which in a weird way was a blessing. And my little girl has been there to see it all, oblivious to her unique way of life. I get to be her constant, when everything around us is shifting through never-ending airports and hotels, living on buses in different cities every night. Her mama is always there to put her to bed at night, to comfort her when she wakes up. I have learned many things on my journey, many of which are your usual cliches. That it's always about the journey and not the destination. That change is always possible, and things are only impossible until someone does it. That nothing outside of ourselves can bring lasting happiness. More than anything,
I've learned that my biggest enemy has always been self-doubt, and that when I have been able to free myself from its irritating shackles and have the courage to trust my inner compass, wonderful things can happen. I had never considered myself successful, always striving to do more, be more, chase more. That hamster wheel had become pretty exhausting until I realized I have everything I wished for since I was a kid. My family, my dream job, my friends. For the girl who was always so average in every aspect of life, average height, average weight, average anxieties, average grades, average upbringing, I've gotten to do some most unaverage things. I am not your average girl.
Becky Lynch, The Man, Not Your Average Girl, was written by Rebecca Quinn and read by the author. It was recorded by Scott Crisp and Peter Stroud at 48 Windows in Santa Monica, California, and by Travis Harms and Robin Charlton at Oakwood Studios in Geneseo, Illinois. Post-production by Common Mode, Paul Fowley, Technical Director. Credits mixed by Terry Hogan. The associate producer was Hana Matsudaira. Becky Lynch, The Man, was produced by Tiffany Ferrari and directed by Aaron Larson. This has been a presentation of Simon & Schuster Audio. Becky Lynch, The Man, is available in print from Gallery Books.
Audible hopes you have enjoyed this program. This is one.
Audible Lake presents Tribes. Written and read by Seth Godin.
Joel Spolsky is changing the world. Maybe not your world, but the world of programmers and software engineers and the people who work with them. The way Joel is changing the world is something every single one of us can pay attention to. While Joel runs a small software company in New York City, his real passion is talking about how to run a small software company. Through blogs and books and conferences, Joel has changed the way many smart people think about finding, hiring, and managing programmers. Along the way, Joel has assembled a large and influential tribe of people who look to him for leadership. A tribe is a group of people connected to one another, connected to a leader, and connected to an idea. For millions of years, human beings have been part of one tribe or another. A group needs only two things to be a tribe: a shared interest and a way to communicate. Joel provides both. He runs a profitable job board that attracts the very best programmers and the best jobs in the world. He even created the widely used Joel test, which is a measure of how programmer-friendly a job might be. A Google search on Joel returns 76 million matches, and Joel Spolsky is first, right where he belongs. Tribes need leadership. Sometimes one person leads, sometimes more. People want connection and growth and something new. They want change. Joel's leadership provided change. He's given his tribe a leader to dramatically alter the way business is done in their industry. Along the way, he's found his passion and found his company. You can't have a tribe without a leader, and you can't be a leader without a tribe. Long, strange trip. 40 years ago, Jerry Garcia and the Grateful Dead made some decisions that changed the music industry forever. You might not be in the music business, and you may never have been to a Dead concert, but the impact the Dead made affects almost every industry, including yours. In addition to grossing more than $100 million during their career, the Dead helped us understand how tribes work. They didn't succeed by selling records. They only had one top 40 album. Instead, they succeeded by attracting and leading a tribe. Human beings can't help it. We need to belong. One of the most powerful of our survival mechanisms is to be part of a tribe, to contribute to and take from a group of like-minded people. We are drawn to leaders and to their ideas, and we can't resist the rush of belonging and the thrill of the new. When one deadhead says to another, 2-14-70, it's like a secret code. The smiles and the hugs and the handshakes define who we are. Being in a tribe is a big part of how we see ourselves. We want to belong not to just one tribe, it turns out, but to many. And if you give us tools and make it easy, we'll keep joining. Tribes make our lives better, and leading a tribe is the best life of all. Tribes used to be local. Jacqueline Novogratz is changing the world, not by leading everyone in her town, but by challenging people in 20 countries to join a movement. One at a time, Jacqueline is inspiring entrepreneurs in the developing world to create enterprises that enrich the people around them. She's helping create organizations that deliver clean water, ambulances, and reading glasses, and doing it in a scalable way that challenges expectations. Jacqueline doesn't just love her job leading the Acumen Fund, she's also changing the very face of philanthropy. Her tribe of donors, employees, entrepreneurs, and supporters counts on her leadership to inspire and motivate. Geography used to be important. A tribe might be everyone in a certain village, or it might be model car enthusiasts in Sacramento, or it might be Democrats in Springfield. Corporations and other organizations have always created their own tribes around their offices or their markets, tribes of employees or customers or parishioners. Now, though, the internet eliminates geography. This means that existing tribes are bigger, but more importantly, it means that there are now more tribes, smaller tribes, influential tribes, horizontal and vertical tribes, and tribes that could never have existed before. Tribes you work with, tribes you travel with, tribes you buy with, tribes that vote, that discuss, that fight, tribes where everyone knows your name. The professionals at the CIA are a tribe, and so are the volunteers at the ACLU. There's an explosion of new tools available to help lead the tribes who are forming. Facebook and Ning and Meetup and Twitter, Squidoo and Basecamp and Craigslist and email. There are literally thousands of ways to coordinate and connect groups of people that just didn't exist a generation ago. All of it is worthless if you don't decide to lead. All of it goes to waste if your leadership is compromised, if you settle, if you don't commit. Many tribes, many tools. I want to talk to you about both. The market needs you. We need you. And the tools are there, just waiting. All that's missing is you, and your vision, and your passion. In search of a movement. Some tribes are stuck. They embrace the status quo and drown out any tribe member who dares to question authority and accepted order. Big charities, tiny clubs, struggling corporations. They're tribes and they're stuck. I'm not so interested in those tribes. They create little of value and they're sort of boring. Every one of those tribes, though, is a movement waiting to happen. A group of people just waiting to be energized and transformed. A movement is thrilling. It's the work of many people, all connected, all seeking something better. The new, highly leveraged tools of the net make it easier than ever to create a movement, to make things happen, to get things done. All that's missing is leadership. Tribes aren't so squishy. Before the internet, coordinating and leading a tribe was difficult. It was difficult to get the word out, difficult to coordinate action, difficult to grow quickly. Today, of course, instant communication makes things taut, not squishy. In today's world, Barack Obama can raise $50 million in 28 days. In the non-squishy tribal world of this decade, Twitter and blogs, online videos, and countless other techniques contribute to an entirely new dimension of what it means to be part of a tribe. The new technologies are all designed to connect tribes and to amplify their work. Please note, throughout this program, I'm pretty quick to use examples based on the internet and some of the astonishing new tools that are showing up to enable tribes to be more effective. But the internet is just a tool, an easy way to enable simple. The real power of tribes has nothing to do and everything to do with people. You don't need a keyboard to lead. You only need the desire to make something happen. If you don't have that desire, don't panic. Sometimes it's okay not to take the lead. Sometimes it's okay to let someone else speak up and show you the way. The power of this new era is simple. If you want to, need to, must lead, then you can. It's easier than ever and we need you. But if this isn't the right moment, if this isn't the right cause, then hold on. Generous and authentic leadership will always defeat the selfish efforts of someone doing it just because she can. How was that survived? Gary Vaynerchuk runs Wine Library TV. You can find it at tv.winelibrary.com. And he has a tribe. Millions of people around the world turn to him to narrate their passion for wine. He helps them discover new wines and better understand the wines they love. But Gary doesn't market to this audience and he doesn't manage them either. He leads a tribe instead. It's an act of generosity and the fuel for a movement, not a marketing style. He doesn't push, he leads. Were people writing about and talking about wine before? Of course. Information has never been difficult to come by. What makes Gary so successful is the way he uses a new medium and new techniques to communicate his passion, to connect people, and to create change. And so, a movement grows. The tribe inside. Mitch Matthews is the Senior Vice President of Microsoft's Central Marketing Group. Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer have relied on her to market Microsoft for about a decade. You've never heard of Mitch. She's not a pundit or a touring personality. Instead, she leads a tribe of thousands of people inside Microsoft who create and shape the company's marketing. The tribe listens to Mitch. They respect her and they follow her. The attention paid by this internal tribe is a hard-earned privilege and a valuable responsibility. This is a program for anyone who chooses to lead a tribe, inside or out. The possibilities are huge. The opportunity. It's simple. There are tribes everywhere now, inside and outside of organizations, in public and in private, in nonprofits, in classrooms, across the planet. Every one of these tribes is yearning for leadership and connection. This is an opportunity for you, an opportunity to find or assemble a tribe and lead it. The question isn't, is it possible for me to do that? Now, though, the question is, will I choose to do it? For a long time, I've been writing and speaking about the fact that everyone is now a marketer. The explosion in media channels, combined with the increased leverage of individuals within organizations, means that just about anyone can influence the marketing of just about everything. This program says something new. Everyone is not just a marketer. Everyone is now a leader. The explosion in tribes, groups, covenants, and circles of interest means that anyone who wants to make a difference can. Without leaders, there are no followers. You're a leader. We need you. Something to believe in. Tribes are about faith, about belief in an idea and in a community, and they are grounded in respect and admiration for the leader of the tribe and for the other members as well. Do you believe in what you do every day? It turns out that belief happens to be a brilliant strategy. 3 things have happened pretty much at the same time. All 3 point to the same, temporarily uncomfortable, but ultimately marvelous outcome. 1. Many people are starting to realize that they work a lot, and that working on stuff they believe in and making things happen is much more satisfying than just getting a paycheck and waiting to get fired or die. 2. Many organizations have discovered that the factory-centric model of producing goods and services is not nearly as profitable as it used to be. And 3. Many consumers have decided to spend their money buying things that aren't factory-produced commodities. And they've decided not to spend their time embracing off-the-shelf ideas. Consumers have decided instead to spend time and money on fashion, on stories, on things that matter, and on things they believe in. So, here we are. We live in a world where we have the leverage to make things happen, the desire to do work we believe in, and a marketing that is begging us to be remembered. And yet, in the middle of these changes, we still get stuck. Stuck following archaic rules. Stuck in industries that not only avoid change, but actively fight it. Stuck in fear of what our boss will say. Stuck because we're afraid we'll get into trouble. Most of us, we're stuck acting like managers or employees instead of like the leaders we could become. We're embracing a factory instead of a tribe. The irony is that all of this fear used to be useful. Fear of change is built into most organisms because change is the first sign of risk. Fear of change in a huge factory is appropriate when efficiency is the order of the day. Today, though, the fear that used to protect us at work is now our enemy. It's now the thing standing in the way. Imagine having worked at AOL, or a mortgage broker, or Sears. It might have been...
I've been contemplating how I want to do this because it's coming on 3 o'clock. By the time I get to Gary, it's going to be close to 4. And I-80 is going to get slammed, as is the route from Chicago. So I have a couple of options here. I can go to our terminal in Markham, which would throw me about 30 miles out of route. Or I can stop in a town called DeMont, which is not too far from here, probably about 45 minutes or so. Park up there for the night and just get an early run in the morning. My biggest concern is getting through Chicago during rush hour. I think I'm going to stop in DeMont because I can leave at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. Get up there, get unloaded, get to my pickup, and then park. I'd like to get at least halfway there because it's an 8 a.m. delivery on Friday. And I don't want to be running because if I do that and then I deliver at 8 a.m. if I run all night basically. I may not have time to get home. I mean, I should, but that's a chance I don't want to take. So, I think because I don't know if I can make it to the border tonight. I'd like to. But with Chicago's traffic, I don't know if that's going to be possible. Because like I said, I'm not taking the 295 because I don't want to pay $50 tolls all the way. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop at DeMont tonight, which will get me shut down by about 3:30, maybe 4 o'clock. 10-hour break would put me back on by 2 o'clock, but I don't have to. I probably wouldn't have to leave until 3:34, which will put me in Chicago by about 5:30-ish. Then I got to deal with the Milwaukee traffic, Milwaukee's rush hour. always jam-packed. A lot of locals. A lot of locals, a lot of chaos in that truck stop. Anywhere in that area is pretty chaotic. But the other problem is if I leave out at 3, I have to shut down my screen. Not a huge fan of that either. Let's just